Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Today I F'd Up and it's by user Samus10011. Today I F'd up by giving my youngest son advice on happy relationships and causing my oldest son's girlfriend to dump him. First, I would like to say this actually happened on my youngest son's birthday, but today is the day my oldest son confronted me. So here is what happened. After the cake and presents, my youngest son and I were chatting. He is a young teenager, and now that my wife and I feel he is old enough and mature enough, we gave him permission to begin dating. He wanted advice on his future relationships. His mom and I almost never fight, and apparently it was noticeable enough that he asked about it. The conversation began by talking about learning to respect your partner, etc. I can't remember everything I said, but here are some highlights. Always be ready and willing to say you're sorry, even when you think you're right. Never dismiss your girlfriend's feelings. They are valid, even if you don't understand them. Communicate, communicate, communicate. If something is bothering you and you don't tell your significant other, you're only hurting yourself. Listen when she is trying to tell you something, no matter how much you don't want to hear it. Put the game controller down and mute the TV whenever she wants your attention. End every conversation with a sign of your affection, and if you won't see her for a few hours, give her a hug, a kiss, or both every time. Throughout the day, randomly tell her you're thinking about her, you care about her, or you love her, and mean it. If you stop meaning it, figure out why and fix it, or break up. Trust is important, and once you've broken it, you might never fix it again. Many people believe love is the most important thing in a relationship, but it's not. It's respect. If you don't respect your partner or feel she doesn't respect you, talk about it and fix it, or break up. Otherwise, you will both be miserable. There were a bunch of other pieces of advice I gave him, but that's the general gist. It wasn't all seriousness, we joked around a bit too. I told him this little bit of advice my dad told me a long time ago. You will know when your girlfriend is completely comfortable around you when she is willing to fart in front of you. Don't marry her until that happens. Sage advice, that is. Now, me and my youngest were sitting at my desk having this talk while he was picking out the video games he wanted to buy with his birthday money. My daughter and my oldest son's, now ex-girlfriend, were on the couch playing video games and listening to us. My daughter occasionally chimed in with her own comments. She's been dating a few years now, and had her own bits of advice to give. Though her comments were more about how to act on dates, places they can go, and stuff like that. My oldest son's girlfriend hardly spoke at all. In hindsight, that should have been a red flag. She's a talkative extrovert and also a very pleasant and generous young woman. Eventually, my oldest boy came over and dropped off his gift for his little brother. He and his girlfriend stuck around long enough for him to have some cake, and then they left. At this point, I don't know exactly what happened. My daughter managed to get some details from my oldest son's, now ex-girlfriend. I got some more from my oldest son when he came over to yell at me for breaking up his relationship. Long story short, my oldest son wasn't being a good boyfriend. His girlfriend confronted him with some issues they've been having. She felt like he didn't respect her opinions and feelings, and she dumped him. It's that simple. I love all my children with every bit of my heart, even when they are mad at me, and I admit I effed up. I am to blame for his breakup. But not because of what I said in front of his girlfriend. I effed up because I didn't drill the advice I gave my youngest into my oldest boy's head when he was younger. He wants me to post this on one of the Am I the A-hole subs, but I'm not going to do that. I admit that I could be a better father and I can be a real a-hole sometimes, but I'm pretty damn sure that even though I could have read the damn room, that wasn't the real problem. Hopefully, my oldest son learns from this. Well, OP, I absolutely agree with every single word you said. Your whole relationship advice, that's all spot on. And also, it's not your fault that you actually opened up the ex-girlfriend's eyes and she dumped him. It's his own fault because, as you said, he apparently wasn't being a good boyfriend and she had enough. Hopefully, your son learns from this and now he can actually take your advice to heart and follow through with that in his next relationships. If not, that's on him. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section and let's check out the community comments. I Really Want Skittles says, I'm no father, but I am a brother, and I'm going to tell you right now, some kids never learn. They will live their life with the same problem repeating over and over, and it's going to be everyone else's fault. Jimbo the Rising Clown says, since your post makes it seem like he's reading the comments, I'm directing this to the oldest son. Dude, treat women well. Not because their gender gives them any special status, but because they are human and almost everyone deserves to be treated with human decency. If you are with a partner and you realize you aren't actually invested in their relationship, just be honest and break up instead of hurting them by stringing them along. If your sole reason for a relationship is because you just want sex, there are a lot of ways to get it if you are honest with your partners and a decent human being. Learn from this breakup and become a better partner so it doesn't happen again. And listen to your parents. It sounds like they actually understand what a healthy relationship looks like, and that is far too rare in this world to take for granted. And Not Quite Chaos Yet says, I know this is Today I Effed Up, but I'm gonna go ahead and say, not the a-hole. Yes, you could have drilled this advice into your eldest son's head, but if they broke up without taking the time to try to fix what she felt was wrong in the relationship, then there was more wrong than just your good advice could fix. Additional information from OP's comments. I posted this because my son wanted me to take this to Reddit. He specifically wanted me to post on the Am I the A-hole sub, thinking he will get some satisfaction when they point out that I'm the a-hole. I told him I'd write a post, but not where he wanted. I stand by everything I said 100%. Sure, I'll take the blame for his breakup. I effed up, so that's why I'm here. But only because I wasn't a better father to him and taught him how to treat his girlfriend right. He's not too old for me to smack him upside the head to jumpstart his brain. He will be 20 later this year, so not really a full teenager anymore. The way I look at it, I should have given that advice unsolicited back when he was still living under my roof. Hopefully, he learns from this. He's a smart kid even though he is a bit spoiled. I will love him no matter what and will be waiting in case he wants to talk. I didn't post the details of their argument because I don't have all of them. I do know what she told my daughter and I know my son. I listened to everything he said when he came over today, and my daughter and my son's ex are still friends. He struggled to refute the things she told my daughter. That has always been a sign of him trying to come up with excuses for his actions after the fact. In short, he was dismissive of his girlfriend's feelings on some things that are important to her in addition to more private stuff. No foul play though. I don't know if he can fix this with her. He is currently not talking to me or my wife. I do know that my daughter fully intends to stay friends with her, and I support her in that. Alright, well overall the community would agree that OP is not the a-hole if that was what OP would be asking. In any case, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. I've had a few requests for an update, but life and its troubles kept happening each new day since my original post. I made some comments on the original post, but there were just too many to answer everyone and deal with the personal messages people sent me. I'll try to answer the many and varied questions in this update. I'd like to clarify that my son is a young adult and no longer lives in my home. He came over long enough to drop off my youngest son's gift, eat some cake, and left with his girlfriend. My daughter and youngest son are still teenagers. My daughter and my oldest son's girlfriend met through my son, but they are still friends even after the breakup. With that said, on to the update. After my oldest son and his girlfriend broke up, and he yelled at me for it, many things have been said. Some things I didn't know were revealed, and some secrets were told. I gave my son a couple of days to cool off before I spoke with him. My wife tried calling a few times, but he wouldn't answer his phone. So I went over to his apartment. His roommate convinced him to let me in to talk, and we did. We also did some shouting, a bit of yelling, and hugged once as well. This is when I found out that my son got a job offer out of state a few weeks ago. It's part of an apprenticeship through his trade school. He is considering it, and this was one of the reasons for the recent tension between him and his girlfriend. She wanted him to stay here, where her family is, and he wanted her to go with him if he took the apprenticeship. It's almost twice the hourly rate he makes at his current job, and the apprenticeship will pay for some of his time spent in classes, although the cost of living is higher there as well. Some people pointed out that my son is a bit misogynistic, and I initially thought that may be a bit true, and I learned part of that from some of the examples he has seen in my home. I talked to him about this and discovered that he sees things about my marriage in a way they were never meant to be seen. One thing that my son pointed out to me was this thing my wife and I call my magic coffee cup. You see, when my wife is home, I am not allowed to make my own coffee. My wife has always made my coffee since we first started dating. This isn't something I have ever demanded, it's just the way things have always been. It became a joke between my wife and I when we were dating that my coffee cup must be magic because I've never had to fill it myself. Now, after many years of marriage, it's become something I don't even think about. My wife will pick my empty cup and say some silly magic words like hocus pocus or bibbidi bobbidi boo while waving her hands over it, and then she takes it to the kitchen and makes me a fresh cup. Sometimes I will pick up my empty cup and say some magic words and then shake the cup or peek inside and then in a pitiful whiny voice say to my wife, "Honey, my magic cup isn't working again." The few times I have tried to make my own coffee when she is home, she gets up, hip checks me out of the way and makes it for me. I learned my lesson long ago, but my kids never saw that play out when it first developed. This is not the misogynistic act my oldest son believes it to be. I do not think it is my wife's place to have to slave for me by making my coffee. She does it because she loves doing it, not because she has to. If she told me today that I had to make my coffee from now on, I won't say a peep. I'll kiss my wife and go make my coffee. This has become part of another running joke that we have going. The joke is we each don't let the other do specific things around the house so that the other forgets how to do them so we can never leave each other. Officially, I do all the laundry and she does all the dishes. In reality, she does wash the occasional load and I do the dishes every once in a while, but we never admit to doing so. I learned to cook her favorite foods, so she forgot how to make them, and she does the same for mine. For example, she can't make eggs over easy anymore, and I've forgotten how to make good slop, which is sausage and egg noodles in cream of mushroom and topped with fried onions. Terrible for you, but so good. This and other little quirks is part of our love language, and it has taken many years for it to develop. My son mistook the nuanced unspoken or joked about parts of our marriage for some sort of male-female traditional marriage role BS. He was seeing the end result of years of small compromises, fights, agreements, and other stuff that led to the way our marriage works today. Now, while I was having that talk with my oldest boy, my wife and daughter were talking with his ex-girlfriend. We all really like her and would hate to see them broken up forever. They discovered all the things my son wasn't telling me. From what they learned, my oldest son has been listening to certain podcasters and TikTok influencers that are very misogynistic. My son wanting her to move out of state with him while she was reluctant to do so is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to their real problems. When they talked about their futures, they had wildly differing views on what those futures would be like. For example, he got it stuck in his head that women should do the lion's share of the housework. To be fair, doing the dishes seems like it takes a lot more effort than doing laundry, since most of the time is spent waiting for the dryer cycle to finish. But doing the laundry is more than just washing and folding clothes while watching TV or playing video games. It's changing the linens, changing out the towels and robes in the bathroom, and changing out and cleaning the curtains around the home. None of my kids has ever had to put fresh sheets on their beds because I do it for them. My wife has done our bed maybe once in the last half dozen years. Laundry, like dishes, are monsters that you battle endlessly. In a good marriage, you and your partner fight those battles side by side no matter how you split up the workload exactly. Anyway, I hate to see them remain broken up, but my son needs to grow up a bit before that has any hope of happening. I suggested therapy, though I doubt my son will look into it. He's at the age where he thinks he knows everything. He hasn't attained the wisdom to realize that no matter how perfect we think we are, everyone screws up, and sometimes the way we think is very, very wrong. Son, I love you, but you need to get your head out of your ass. OP, once again, I agree with you on everything regarding the relationship part, of course. Compromise, communication, and respect. And though I agree his mindset does need some work on and adjustment, one thing I do have a point on is in his professional future. Your son got a job opportunity that he really wanted to explore. He asked her if she wanted to come. She said, no, because my family's here. I want you to stay. And I think if that was the end of that conversation and nobody was going to budge, then that was also the end of the relationship. This doesn't mean that I agree with your son's way of thinking right now, but it's because of this that I don't think they're going to get back together. Because if he does stay and miss out on his opportunity, he might start resenting her. And that, coupled with his way of thinking, cannot be good. In any case, OP, here's wishing you and your family the best. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user OKP3414. You want the engineering staff to do the ordering as well? You got it. So, for those who are unaware, companies usually have engineering staff talk with engineering of parts suppliers, detail down the specifications and whatnot, and then the list goes to the purchasing department or the purchasing folks of that particular engineering department. This is because engineers don't want to involve themselves with 30, 60, 90 days due, terms and conditions of sale, validity of quotes. Remember the correct quote PDFs because they have hundreds of them, and working with finance department to understand what is the best for the overall financial health. Also, in fairly large companies, you have buyers dedicated for each vendor or buyers dedicated to certain products like pneumatics, electrical, heavy-duty construction, mechanical components, made-to-order parts, etc. And the buyers themselves have internal pathways and routes so that each required product finds themselves with the correct buyer, because the engineers are a-holes and to lower their workload, they will more often than not dump all the parts on a single buyer. So a new VP comes in, sees buyers as bloat, fat to be trimmed, and makes a decision. He lays off 8 buyers in that engineering department, which makes the whole factory material handling systems that handle nearly all the materials moving through multi-100,000 square footage. From raw materials, warehouses, and yards to finished goods sections. We had to order the stuff ourselves. Before we did though, 3 senior staff engineers asked to be sent in a department-wide email. VP does so, and now starts the malicious compliance. Vendors ask, what due terms do you want? Not aware of how deep you have to go, engineers ask for the best price. Due in 15 days after delivery. Sure, let's do that. Turns out, that vendor usually was on a net 90-day due, because paying off in the next quarter would be more sensible. What department do you want me to bill it to? Of course mine, because I'm ordering it. Engineers are blissfully unaware the billing happens by the sales department as it gets easier to finally do profitability analysis since whichever sales department got the contract pays for the parts too. Turns out our department didn't have a single process or work route to get bills and pay them. Now, by the time we get to the bottom of the purchasing list, the offered quotes have expired, so we get back to the vendor sales team and get a new quote and wait. Doing nothing much until we get quotes and then order stuff. End of quarter, department finances are a total massive effed up mess. 8-figure mess. The CFO is red-faced, steaming from her ears, trying to find out what is going on. Engineers say, oh, the best price was net due 15 days, so I selected that. Well, I was ordering it, so the bill should come to us. Why would other department pay for the stuff that I'm asking for? The CFO says, who asked you to do the ordering yourself? This is not your job. Everyone shows her the email. End of the day, VP walked out to never be seen again. All the buyers who were let go were rehired, and all of them negotiated a pay increase of $6.50 per hour. Well, usually trying to fix something that you don't know how it works is not going to necessarily lead to a good outcome. In this case, there was something trimmed out, the VP's job. I guess they learned a lesson. Thanks so much for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe